Hello everyone, welcome to day 39 of building the flight booking engine. It's been a while since I had a live stream, and that is because work got hold of me and it was quite challenging to have live streams. But I'm back and let's continue building. Over the past few live streams, we're working on integrating the Flutterwave payment gateway, but Flutterwave refused to give me keys and other credentials I need for the business. So I had to look for a different payment gateway called PesaPal. And that was because they needed at least the recurring revenue to be above 10, I think, $1 million, if I remember right. So fair enough, I left it. I now am switching to PesaPal, which is also a very credible payment gateway, especially in the region of East Africa. And I want to show you how it all works. If you think about PesaPal, of course, I started by showing you this page, okay? And before we continue, you should actually download ngrok, okay? Ngrok is an interesting tool that I'm going to explain to you how it works. And like for me on macOS, I downloaded it, okay, using bro. I said bro install ngrok. If you want to work on Windows, click on Windows, Linux, click Linux, FreeBSD, Docker, Docker Desktop, Raspberry Pi. Okay, for me, I'm on macOS, and so I did bro install ngrok. Or you can actually download the installer, however you like. So let's go to PesaPal. These are some test cards. I want to expand this. If you can't see this, please let me know. The goal today is to make sure that, again, you understand this very deeply and very easily. So, PesaPal API 3.0. It says, welcome to PesaPal API 3.0. Getting started with PesaPal is quick and easy. Okay, in this release, you will learn how to use our API endpoints to access PesaPal services. Our APIs are built on REST, representational state transfer. Thus, our data entities are represented as HTTP resources and accessed using HTTP verbs get and post. Requests and responses are JSON encoded. Find information about integrating your website with PesaPal. Okay. This documentation includes sample codes for each API we have. Of course, I'm not going to go into details of, I'm not going to read line by line, but I'm going to explain to you enough details to help you integrate into the flight booking engine. Okay, and I hope you're building along with me. But not only that, to be able to integrate it in any application that you have. Okay, because the concepts are quite literally the same. Now, let us now move and go. So if you need to try this in Postman, this is the Postman URL. Okay. Then they have the best URLs. Okay. So for testing, they have the sandbox environment, and this is the URL. Okay. In the live account, you have this. Okay. So add them to your environment variables. If I take it to the code, maybe let me expand this a little bit and go to backend env.example. Okay. You see, I have a number of sample data here. Okay. I have, what are we looking for? You see, PesaPal base URL. Okay. I see this value. So have it in your .env. Don't forget this. Okay. This is the first thing you should do. And the concept is the same for any payment gateway. Okay. Which is a REST API. Always you have the base URL. After the base, of course, this will change. Okay. For development and testing, we're using the sandbox. But of course, when you're going to use in production, use the live URL. So you simply change this value, okay, depending on the environment you're working on. Then after that, they explain their errors, okay? They're saying in case an error occurs during any API call, PesaPal will respond with a JSON string in the following format, okay? This is good to have a consistent way of showing errors. Okay, so they show a JSON string like this, having a key called error, with then it's nested, okay, with a key type and the error type, the code, the response code, and the message, which can also show your users. Okay, this is good. Okay, so let us click next. Okay, click next. Again, if you have any question, please go ahead to ask me and leave it in the comment section. So now, after you've set up your best URL, okay, and you've understood how the errors are going to be handled, I need you to now understand authentication. The next step is to do authentication, okay? And the concept is the same for all payment gateways. You need to authenticate, okay? So the same PesaPal's API authentication requests are done via a POST request. All integrations I've done, okay, for any payment gateway has always been a POST request, okay? And they're saying your PesaPal merchant consumer key and secret key will be used to generate an access token. So you need two keys, a consumer key and a consumer secret, to generate an access token, okay? So take note of this. And they're saying this access token is valid for a maximum of 5 minutes. They're saying use this token sent as a bearer token to access all the other API 3.0 endpoints. So again, in your environment variable .env, okay, have the consumer key with its value. Not only that, have the PesaPal consumer secret with its value, okay? So now how many values are those for PesaPal? You have the consumer key, you have the consumer secret, and the base URL. 3 so far. And all payment gateways follow the same principle, okay? And all major major integrations. Remember when we were integrating Amadeus. Do you see here, right here? Let me expand this a little bit. We have the Amadeus API key, we have the Amadeus API secret, and Amadeus base URL. Okay, so no need to cram this, but the concept is the same. That when you'll be trying to integrate any API, usually, okay, well, it is payment or whatever. Okay, usually you have an API key, expect an API key, expect an API secret, expect a base URL. Common thing. Okay, when you go to the for PesaPal right now, even for payment. Okay, so Amadeus is our integration for flights. PesaPal is our integration for payment. So you have a key, a secret, and a base URL. Same concept, okay? My goal here is to ensure that you guys understand the concept, that you understand the concept, okay? It's what gives real success and understanding. Then after that, they say the URL to our token generator API is either, so remember, like I've told you, there is the base URL. I mean, there's a sandbox URL, which is the demo URL for testing, or the production or live URL. Okay. So on top of this base URL, okay, you simply add, you see it says API /auth /request token. Okay. The same for the production URL. So it's the same thing. Okay. It does not matter. The same thing. Then after that, I'm going to show you how to do this in code. So they explain the request headers. Okay. You have the accept. They have the content type. Okay. You have to send these. There are two headers. So both of them are required. So the accept is the parameter which is required. Content type is required. And they say that the value for accept should be set to application JSON. And the value for content type should be set to application JSON also. The request parameters. Okay. When you create a live or business account, okay, see they're saying, please click here to open a live or production business account. Okay. So when you create that live account, you'll be given a consumer key and a secret key, whose values you put in your .env, okay? And those values are actually secret, so don't share them with anybody, okay? So if you're interested in integrating for your business, click here and it'll be sent to your email, okay? Click on this link. If I click on open this link in another tab, you're going to see you're asked to create an account, a live account, either business or personal, okay? And when you successfully register, you'll be you'll be sent those credentials to your email. After that, the next thing they're saying, click here to download test credentials, okay, to use while connecting to our sandbox. This is for testing. So when you open this, okay, you see the number of keys, okay, and this concept is the same for all payment gateways, okay. So I also got one of those keys and I put in my .env. So do the same thing, okay, copy from that page. Let me open it again. Copy any of these, okay, for any of these countries, and have it to test, okay, so that in your portfolio you can ensure that you integrated at least a payment gateway. You can use this for testing. What else? So of course, these are the parameters that you send, okay. You send the consumer key that is coming from your environment variable and the consumer secret, okay. Then you send them, and of course the response, you're given a token, the expiry date, an error, the status, the message, okay. And they're saying this is how the response will look like. So you see that the consumer key and secret are required, okay. So let us see this in code. I want to show you how I actually did this. If I go to external services, then PesaPal, and reduce this, and go up at the beginning, okay. So you see I have a number of implementations, but I'm going to explain to you step by step. If I open this, okay, this private instance method saying async def underscore get access token, okay, and returns a string, okay. And you see I have some documentation says get auth to access token from PesaPal, okay. So ideally I first check, okay, if there's an access token, okay, and if there's the expiry set, okay, and that the current time, okay, is less than the token expiry, then I return the access token. It means there's an access token, okay. Simply is if I have already set an access token, okay, and the access token has not expired, okay, this is simply what this if statement is saying. If I have set an access token and the access token has not expired, how do I know it has not expired? When the current time, okay, is less than the token expiry time. Otherwise, if this is false, then I create my payload. This is the request, okay? Like you see in the documentation, they said we have to send the consumer key and secret. So I say consumer key and secret, okay? Where is consumer key and secret coming from? If I go to the init method, okay? The init method, you see I'm getting the consumer key from my environment variable. That's why I told you please add it to your environment variable. So I get the consumer key from the environment variable. I get the consumer secret from the environment variable. I get the base URL from the environment variable. I'm going to explain to you about IPN and other things, okay? So IPN will come later, okay? So for now, you know about the consumer secret. You know about the secret key. And I say os.getEnv. So os.getEnv gets a value from the environment variable, okay? And how is that possible? I'm using the load the .env package, okay? .env package has a method called load.env, which loads environment variables into this module, okay? And I can get them using os.getEnv like that. So this is for simply setting the secret keys, the secret key, the consumer key, secret key, base URL, and other values. Like you see, by default, initially the access token, which is a private attribute, will be none by default. Token expiry is a date time, but will be none by default the first time. Okay. So for the first time, this if statement will return nothing. Okay, will fail. Okay. Then let me expand this a little bit so that you can see. Then we shall create a payload, which is simply a dictionary having the consumer key, okay, and the secret, whose values are coming from what has been set in the init method here. After that, I now have the headers, okay? Remember they said you have to send headers, okay? These are request headers, the accept and content type. So I come here, create a dictionary of headers, content type, application JSON, accept, application JSON. Just like they mentioned here. If there's anything that is not making sense to you, please leave a question in the comment section. Otherwise, if this is good for you, whether you're watching this live or after the stream, please like this video. Then after that, I now make a request using HTTPX. Okay. So HTTPX is up here. Says I import HTTPX up here on line 6. Then down here, I say async because this is going to be an asynchronous application. Okay. So it's async and I put it with a context. Okay. If you know Python, this, you know the with context. Okay. Say HTTPX.async client. Okay. Because this is going to be an asynchronous operation, not a synchronous operation. So if you know about asynchronous and synchronous, I cannot explain it now, but you can read about it. Okay. Or maybe I can create another video. If I get more than maybe 5 people requesting for this, I can create a video about async versus synchronous. Then we have our variable as client. Okay, as client, this is an alias. Then we say client.post. What are we posting to? Self.base URL / API auth request token. So in our case, it's the base URL will be this, okay, the demo, but this will be the whole length, the whole URL will be this form, okay. Then this is the JSON because the payload, headers because the headers, and we await the response, okay. Then I have some loggers. Remember, we created our logger manager, okay, logger manager class. If you haven't watched that, please check the past videos or streams in the playlist, okay. You will see a logger manager class. So I now log a response, okay. Just a PesaPal authorized just to know that this is the status code for the response and this is the text, okay. Then if things fail, I say response.raise for status in case things are bad. Otherwise, I get the data by saying response.json, okay. I get the data, and if the data has an error, okay, I pick the error, okay. Then that error has a particular message, okay. But I pick that message if the error is a dictionary, okay. So it says if instance simply checks if a particular variable meets certain criteria. In other words, this if statement is asking, is the error an instance of dict? Okay. If the error is an instance of a dict, pick the message, get the message. So error.get, get the message. Otherwise, return an empty string. Else, return the error, okay, to a string. Then again, I log that error, okay. Then I raise a value error. If the token is not in the data, okay, I log that no token found in the response. Of course, this is rare, but I just put it as another layer of security, okay. Then I raise a value error, okay. So it's saying authentication failed. Then later, if all this passes, it means things are okay. Then you know what happens? I simply now set the access token. I say self_access token equals to data token. Then I say logger.info, PesaPal authentication successful, just to see in the logs, okay? Actually, if I go up here, I wanted to remind you that access token by default is none. So after we have set this access token here on line 78, in the event that someone tries to call this function again, we shall now not make another call, okay? We shall simply fetch it from line 38 in case the access token exists and it has not expired. So after that, we simply return it, okay? So that is the that's the authentication, okay? I wanted to explain to you. All right, and don't worry, I'm going to push this code to GitHub. Next up, we move to something else, okay? So I'll click next, and all these concepts are the same, okay? You have to understand that these concepts are the same in all payment integrations, okay? The concepts are the same. So once you understand this, okay, you're setting yourself up for tremendous success. Next up, let's go to documentation. They're saying IPN URL registration endpoint. Okay, what is IPN? The I is actually the whole thing is an abbreviation. I is for instant, P is for payment, N is for notification. Okay, so when a payment is made against a transaction, PesaPal or the payment gateway will trigger an IPM to notify us that, okay, you know what? Things have gone well. Things have failed. Okay? Regardless of whether the user is on this page, on the payment page or not. It helps us to know that. Okay? And very soon I'm going to show you, we're going to go through this part. Okay? Paying. You shall click pay to confirm and you'll see what I'm talking about. So if I get back here, okay, they're saying an IPN is a particular important as it allows you to be notified in case the following happens. Read this. Interesting. Your client gets disconnected after payment due to internet issues. Okay, you want to be notified. Your client experiences server errors, hence PesaPal, and your application gets disconnected before the callback URL is loaded. Your client exits your application and closes the browser during payment. A transaction is rejected. Soon we shall know the callback URL is. Okay. And they're saying because of such issues, okay, that can happen, like a transaction being rejected, someone exits the application or closes the browser during payment, or the client gets disconnected after the payment due to internet issues. Okay, anything can happen. Okay, someone can have internet issues, maybe their battery runs out, they close the browser, the transaction is rejected. Because of such issues, we need to be notified always, okay, in the back end of how things are going on. Now, they're saying because of that, it is mandatory to have an IPN configured to allow PesaPal to notify your servers when a status changes. And it's very easy, trust me, okay? It's very easy. I am going to show you, okay? Then they're saying, I don't know if I need to read all this. Okay, let me read through it, okay? So that you also understand it as I do. So they're saying it's important to note that this IPN URL must be publicly available, okay? It has to be publicly available. In cases where you have strict server rules preventing external systems reaching your end, you must whitelist all calls from our domain, pesapal.com. Please be informed that IP whitelisting is not feasible as our IP may change without notice. So you have to avoid all these issues, okay? Simply make it public, okay? And mine is public, and I'm going to show you. So they're saying before sending submit order request to PesaPal API 3.0, you are expected to register your IPN URL. Upon registration, you receive an IPN ID, which is a mandatory field, okay, when submitting an order request to PesaPal 3.0. So when you register an IPN URL, okay, what is the IPN URL? The IPN URL is the URL that the payment gateway sends you notifications. For example, if a person sends you notifications about the status of a payment. For example, if a client gets disconnected, okay, due to internet issues, or the client exits your application and closes the browser, or your client experiences server errors, okay, or the transaction is rejected, even when it is accepted, okay. So when you register your IPN URL, you're given an IPN ID. So if you go back to our code, you see, I say have self.ipn ID equals to os.get environment pesapal IPN ID. If we go to environment variables, okay, env.example, you say have IPN ID, okay. So you also give it what? A value, okay. In your .env, remember this is .env.example I'm sharing with you because this is just an example file. But in the real world, don't share your env, okay. So that's now I think you understand what an IPN ID is. When you register an IPN URL, you get an IPN ID. So they're saying, think of it as a notification ID. So they're saying this notification ID uniquely identifies the endpoint PesaPal will send alerts to whenever a payment status changes for each transaction processed via API 3.0. So you know they didn't call it notification ID. Anyway, no need to rant. So they say the URL to our IPN registration is either this is for the sandbox for the testing, and this is for the production. What simply changes is this part, okay, from /API, but the base URL is the same. Okay. So you can make a request to this, okay, by sending the authentication token. Remember, the token is generated for us through what I showed you, okay? Not this here, okay? I showed you how to get the access token, okay? So you have to attach it, and I'm going to show you how to attach it to requests, okay? And then we have the request headers, okay? The same like for the previous one, accept and content type, which should be set to application JSON. Then we have the request parameters, okay, which is the URL, okay, and the notification type, okay. And you have this is how a request should be like, okay. The URL, so this is the IP and URL, okay. Oh my god, what have I clicked? Let me go back. Sorry. Let me refresh. I clicked the link by mistake. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is the IPN, this is the URL. So in this case, like for these people, this is the URL. So if I go back to my .env.example, okay. So if I had here something like maybe PesaPal IPN underscore URL, okay, something like this. This would be the URL to which what is it called? To which the payment gateway would send notifications in case of anything I need to know. Okay, and also you specify the notification type, which is GET. Okay, so and of course the response they give you back the URL, the date it was created, the IPN ID. This is the ID you copy and put in your environment variables. Okay, but there's no need for IPN URL to be in your environment variables. What you need is the IPN ID. They give you the status, they give you the description, the error. Okay, so this is how the response will look like. Okay, then they're saying you can also use our online forms below to register your IPN URLs. Okay, for demo and for registration. For demo, I clicked. Actually, this is what I did. Okay, I didn't use the endpoint. I used the form. Okay, so the method I simply put get the consumer key. So you get the consumer key, like how I showed you how to get it. Okay, you paste the consumer key, then you come copy the secret, undo, paste it. Okay, then your IPN URL, assuming it is maybe the same as this. Okay, you copy it, so make sure you put the right values. Okay, paste like that. Okay, then you hit register. Okay, and then you'll be given a random string. Okay, you don't want to do it because I've already done it. You'll be given a random string that you can now copy and use in your application. But now I want you to listen to me very, very, very carefully. For this thing to work, you need a valid domain. Okay, for production, of course, you'll have hosted your API on a cloud, on a server on the internet, and it can be accessed. But on your machine, that will not be possible because you're working on localhost. For that to work, you need a tunnel. Okay, a tunnel, something which can connect. Okay, your localhost, which can get incoming requests. Okay, from the internet to your localhost. Let me undo this. Okay, I want you to see something. What is an example of a tunnel? Is this tool called ngrok. Okay, ngrok can help us to tunnel traffic to the local host. Otherwise, PesaPal has no access to your local host. It can send requests to local host. Okay, so that's why I told you at the beginning to install ngrok. When you install ngrok and follow the instructions, okay, so you simply, for example, if you're in Mac, install, okay. Then when you sign up for a free account, okay, on the page, on the page that you'll see after signing up, you'll have this complete command, okay, that you copy and paste in your in your terminal. Then after that, you run ngrok http, then the port. if you go to the backend here, okay, let me start the backend. Let me clear the screen. Follow me very closely. Okay. I said Docker compose app. So ideally, after this has run, okay, our application will be running on a particular port. That port, for example, if it's like port, if it's port 80, you'll say ngrok http 80. Okay. For my case, it is 8,000. So in my terminal, I want to show you what I did. In my terminal, let me expand the terminal so you see. So I ran ngrok http 8,000. Okay. And you can see it says session status online. Okay. It says the account shows my name. Okay. Shows the region, India. Okay. And it shows the web interface, shows the forwarding. Okay. You see? You see what it does? It forwards this endpoint. Okay. To everything on localhost 8,000. Okay. So if you say ngrok 80, okay, where is this? Say ngrok 80, it will forward everything to localhost port 80. So make sure you run, if you're having port 8000, so you have to run ngrok http 8000, and it will give you a URL like this. So this URL is what you copy. Okay, I copied this URL. Watch me closely. Then you go to that form. Okay, paste that link. Okay, then you now specify your endpoint. Okay, if I go to here, okay, I want to close this. I think PesaPal IPN. This is going to be the IPN URL. I copy this, okay, and then go back to the form / paste. I remove one /. Okay, are you seeing this? So this is going to be the URL to which the payment gateway will send notifications about payment status, whether the person has cancelled the browser, whether a transaction has been rejected, whether it was an internet issue and things fail. This is what is going to handle that. Don't forget. So when PesaPal sends a request to this, okay, ngrok, like you're seeing here, okay, ngrok will forward it to our API running on localhost port 8000, and it will work perfectly. Now look at what is here on the screen at the bottom. These are requests that came in, the notification that came in from PesaPal earlier on. Okay, to get an instant payment notification. Okay, I got 3 of them at different times. Okay, so this is evidence that it actually worked. Now, before I continue, make sure know that every time you cancel ngrok and restart it, okay, this forwarding URL, okay, changes. It changes. Why? Because it's a free plan. But if you want it to be static, you have to pay. Okay, so if you're on local development and this URL changes every time you restart, it means you have to always go to this form and generate a new IPN. Okay, fill in the form and have a new IPN ID. Okay, so when you click register, you'll get an ID that you, like I've told you, have to put in your .env. Okay, put it here. Okay, so those are 2 ways, and this is what I did. Okay, I used the form, or you can simply use the endpoint. Okay, so filling the form and using the endpoint is the same thing. Okay, you achieve the same goal. So I'll go ahead and move to the next thing. Okay, but maybe just to show you that endpoint. Where is it? It's here. Okay, you see it's called PesaPal IP notification. It is simply a path operation and it has to be public. Okay, take note of that. It has to be public, and you say get the when it is sent. Okay, there are a few things that are attached to it. I want to show you. Okay, let me just explain to you by showing you this side. Okay. Attached to it, query parameters are added to it. Okay. Remember query parameters from what we learned in FastAPI, the order tracking ID and the merchant reference. Okay. Are added to it. Okay. So you see here I was debugging. So I print IPN, IPN, IPN. I was debugging. Okay. So if I go into my try, okay. I close this. Maybe I'll explain this. Let me just go through everything, okay? I'll explain to you this. Let me not break the flow. Let's go back to here, okay? So we have learned about generating an IPN. You can either use the endpoint, okay, or use the form. For testing purposes, please use the form. It will be faster and easier for you. Then I go to next. This is for getting registered IPNs, okay? Simply make a GET request and you'll be given all the IPNs, okay, that you have registered in case you've forgotten any, okay? But also it needs what? A bearer token. I've already showed you how to authenticate. So let's go to the real gist, the main thing. Hit next. Okay. Submit an order request endpoint. It's a post request. Now here's where we have cool stuff, okay? The actual fun happens. So they're saying once you have received the bearer token, the next step will be the actual request to create a payment request. Okay, excuse me. And I'm going to explain to you how I've implemented this, okay? Now, because of this, I can now go back here, okay? I mean, go back to the app, okay? And now show you the pet confirm and how it works, okay? So, they're saying, let me expand this. They're saying a good example would be a case where the customer has clicked pay now button on your website. At this point, they're saying you call the submit order request, and in return, you will get a response which contains a payment redirect URL, which you then redirect the customer to or load the URL as an iframe within your site in case you don't want to redirect the customer off your page. They're saying when we submit an order request, okay, we are given a response which has a URL. That URL is what we redirect the users to. We can redirect them to another page or to the same page. We can do it to the same page by using an iframe. Okay, I am going to show you how all this works. So they're saying the payment URL will contain the payment methods presented to the customer by PesaPal. Okay. So they're saying after the customer has made the payment, they will be redirected to your callback URL, which you will already have provided to us as part of submit order request. They're saying the URL to our submit API is either this is for this testing or demo, and this is for the live in production, okay, to work with real money. So for a sandbox, think about it as working with fake money. Production, think about as working with real money. That is the difference. Then I'll move ahead. So it needs authentication. So it means you have to do the other step. Okay. Then they have the same request headers like for authentication. Then the request parameters. Okay. The ID, we say it should be unique ID, the currency. Okay. The amount, the description, all these, some are option, the callback URL. Okay. This is the URL that PesaPal will redirect our clients to. There's a cancellation URL that you can also set up, but it's optional. Notification ID, this is the IPN, okay, which is required. I mean the IPN ID, okay. Then they have an address object, okay. So the best way to do all this is actually to show you what is going on in the code. So let me go to the code. Where's VS Code? So I want to show you when we click pay to confirm, okay, right? Understand this. So from pay to confirm, I want now to explain to you something. So I go to front end, can I close this? Let me go to front end. And the page is booking success. Page.tsx, okay? the pay to confirm button. Okay. Trust me, it took me some time to navigate all this. I got so fed up with Flutterwave and their constraints. Let me reduce this, minimize this. It should be inside here. All right. So this here's the button. Okay. Pay to confirm. Are you seeing it? When we click pay to confirm on the front end, we click we have a handler. Okay, a function called handle payment. So pay to confirm is this button you're seeing here. Okay, on the dashboard. In fact, let me restart. Let me open the terminal and start the front end too. I don't need a split terminal. How can I kill? Let me start. I want to start both of them. I don't need a split terminal. Let me rebuild the backend. Minus build. Okay, I want to explain this in detail. Enter my password, hit enter. As that is running, I come here to start the front end. I clear. I say nvm use Node.js 20 and npm run dev. Okay, so this will run the front end. The back end is being built. Okay, let it do its thing. And then, like I'm telling you, pay to confirm, this button you're seeing, this green button, is this one here. Okay, with this function called handle payment, and it is disabled in case we are processing something. So I'll go to handle payment. Okay, when I go to handle payment, okay, you see it checks if there's no booking data, nothing is done. Otherwise, we say set processing true, so that you cannot click the button anymore. Okay, then we get the passenger's information. Okay, we get the first passenger. Okay, that would be the person who is creating this flight. Okay, then we get part the names of the parts of the name. Okay, we split that first passenger. Okay, by a space. Okay, we split. Okay, and then we fetch from the name the parts of the name. We get the name. Okay, the first part at index 0 will be the first name. Then this other one will be the last name. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Okay, if there's no last name, if we slice, okay, again, this is not a JavaScript tutorial, but I just want to talk about a few concepts. If you don't know this, you may have to Google about JavaScript a little bit, but I'm explaining to you what the code is doing. Okay, so we pick the last. We try to pick the last name. If it's not there, we just use the first name. So these two types mean or. Okay, we either this or this other one, either this or this other one. Okay, then when we come down, okay, we pick the phone match. Okay, from the booking data.contact.phone, we look for a certain match. What match are we looking for? This kind of match, this kind of syntax. Okay, but of course it should be open. It's just for testing. Okay, then I pick the country code. Okay, if there is no match, okay, I mean if there is a match, okay, we return the first. Remember, this is going to return an array. Okay, so we pick the first element. I mean the second element at index 1. Otherwise, like simply I'll just default into Uganda. Okay, use 256 as the country code, but this will depend on where you are. Then after that, I pick the actual phone number, which will be at position 2 in phone match. Okay, then I simply do a string replacement with nothing. This means nothing globally. Or if there's nothing, if all this fails, okay, and there's nothing, if this at index 2 there's nothing really, okay, then I use booking.contact.phone. The whole idea of this in simple terms is that I am from the information the user has submitted, I'm picking the first name, last name, country code, phone number. Then I get the API base URL. Okay, this is the API, the base URL for the backend, not the payment gateway. Okay, remember this is now the front end. After that, I now make a request to the backend. Okay, I say base URL payments PesaPal initiate. Okay, and I'm going to show you this on the backend. What am I initiate to initiate? I put some configuration. What is the first configuration? Is that this is a post request. Okay, then I have headers. Okay, in the headers I have a authorization. Remember, which is bearer token. Okay, this is not authenticate while sending information to the backend, and then specify also the content type. Okay, then I say the request body will be JSON, will stringify, and this is the data. Okay, we send the booking ID, we send the amount as a float, we send the currency. Okay, so by default, I only want to work with USD for now. Okay, can we remove this comment since I don't need it for now? Then of course later this can be dynamic. Okay, but for now only dollars. Then the description. Okay, then the callback URL. Okay, I'm going to explain this callback URL soon. Then the billing address. Okay, billing address is where now I add this information I was building up above here. Okay, I specify the email, the phone, the country, the first name, the last name. Okay, then because I was debugging and testing, I log the response. Okay, and if it is 401, it means you're not authenticated. Okay, I call the logout function and route you back to the login page so that you log in. Otherwise, if it is not an authentication issue, and it's something else, I simply uh, say I simply pick the error, okay, and raise that error. Okay, I also log it to see it in the console for debugging purposes. Okay, and try to pick out the error detail. If the error detail does not exist, I simply tell you that failed to initiate payment. Okay, then if everything is okay, I now I say await response to JSON, and that will give me the payment response. Then I log that payment response. Okay, and then if in case there's an error attribute on data, okay, I can throw that error. Okay, I throw an error message. Otherwise, okay, I set the payment URL, okay, to data dot redirect URL. Okay, and this will show it in an iframe. Okay, then I say set show payment iframe true. Instead of taking the person to another page, I show them an iframe. I think about an iframe about a web page in a web page. Okay, then I see all these errors which are being thrown. Okay, they will be caught. Okay, and then display logged for debugging purposes, and then a simple alert. Okay, later I'll change it to toasts. Okay, then because things have now failed, I say set payment processing to false. Okay, that is how it works. So I want to go into more detail here. Okay, so like I said, follow me very, very carefully. There are things I need you to understand. Let's go back here. Okay, this is the body. Okay, I'll minimize this. Let me see. So this one here, this is base URL payments PesaPal initiate. Okay, on the backend, you see in this file of routers. Okay, remember these are routers. Okay, I have PesaPal initiate. Okay, and it's a post request. Okay, and if I open here, okay, if I open this, you see we expect a payment request, and it is a body. If I go to PesaPal payment request, you'll see that it matches exactly what we sent here in the body in the JavaScript. So here, look at this. Okay, the same thing: the booking ID, the amount, the currency, the description, the callback URL, the billing address, and I'm going to explain about the callback URL soon. Then we have a simple method here, okay, called validate currency, which is used for validating the currency. Okay, so you can use it. And just a moment. All right, I'm back. So it's called def validate currency. Okay, so this function here, okay, remember also this base PesaPal payment is a base model. Okay, and we can do this kind of things in what? In Pandatic, okay? I say validate underscore then the attribute name currency, okay? Then here, you see it's a class method. For those of you who know Python, if you don't know Python, please learn about decorators, okay? And what a class method means, okay? There's class method, there's static method, there's instance method. Then we have an decorator called field validator. We are validating the currency, meaning you are simply validating this currency here. Where is at field validator got from? It is got from here, from Pandatic. We import field validator. Then we check if the value, okay, is not a USD. Okay, we say raise value error, only USD is supported. Why am I doing this? Just to give an extra layer. Of course, here I've hard coded it to be USD, but what if I forget? Okay, or if I'm generating code using AI and AI puts maybe USDY, okay, the backend should be able to handle that. Okay, so that's why I have this. Okay, otherwise we simply return the value. Okay, so this is how you can put validations in Pandatic based models. Then the billing address type is up here. Okay, all this. Okay, as simple as that. Having an email, the phone number, country code, first name, last name, middle name, line 1, line 2, city, state, postal code. Okay, so I'll go back. That's in the schemas directory. So I'll go back to the API endpoint. So we expect a PesaPal payment. Okay, then remember we have we have two dependencies. Session. If you've been following along, you know that session helps us get a session to our database, a connection to our database. Okay, simple. Think about that. Simple as that. Get session returns a session, which simply is a connection to our database. Then get current user is simply another dependency. How do I know it's a dependency? It is using depends and returns to us a current user. And it's what helps us to do authentication. Okay, so now when I come down here, okay, you say I have a simple print statement, but I could have used the log because we have the log manager. So the first thing I do is I get the booking from the database, okay, using the session, okay, and the payment request dot booking ID. Okay, if there's no booking, then I raise an HTTP exception saying booking not found. So this is another layer of validation that has to be added. After I've added this validation, okay, that if they're not booking, raise an HTTP exception, and it will be the status code will be status.http not found. Okay, so you always have to return the correct status codes. Okay, so the detail is that the booking has not been found. Then after that, I verify that the booking belongs to the current user. I check that if I check that the booking.user ID, okay, is not equal to the current user ID. In case there's a mismatch between these two, it means you're trying to initiate a payment for a booking which does not belong to you. You can only book a booking that belongs to you. Okay, you can only pay for a booking that you created. So again, I'll raise an HTTP exception. Where does HTTP exception come from? If I go to the top, it simply comes from FastAPI. Okay, from FastAPI, I import HTTP exception. Then the status code changes to HTTP 403 forbidden. Okay, you have no permission. Then the detail, which is the message, says you don't have permission to pay for this booking. Okay, so I'm doing this so that you understand deeply. After that, if booking.status equals to paid, okay, I said it's a bad request. Why? Detail says the booking has already been paid. You should not initiate payment for booking which already has been paid for. Then I simply print out the PesaPal.ipn ID, okay, just to have a look for debugging purposes. Okay. So if the PesaPal client does not have the IPN ID, I say payment system not configured. Please contact support, something like that. Okay. But I should probably show a better error. And of course, this is an internal server error. Okay. Something wrong with the server configuration. When done, okay, I now build the billing request from the front end. Okay. Because the fields can be optional. Okay. But there's even a better way of doing this. Okay. I can use there's something called the model dump. Actually, I've used it. I've used it in what? In many other APIs, endpoints. Yeah, if many of you have been following, okay. I've just thought about it now. There's a better way of doing all this, okay, using FastAPI based tools. This is not good actually. Then I now prepare the callback URL. Okay. So if the payment request has a callback URL, remember we passed it. Okay, here says window.location.origin, okay, booking, payment, callback URL. Okay. So if it's not there, okay, I build one. Okay. But it's going to be booking, payment, callback. Meaning when the initiation is successful, we shall call this page. If I go to the front end here, okay, here, this is the page you shall call. This is the callback page. See, it says payment callback page. It's a component for that. So I'm just doing a second layer of catching. If you've not sent it in the request, I simply build it, okay, and create it like this. Okay, saying os.get env, the front-end URL. If the front-end URL is not there, I know maybe I'm on what? Localhost. Do that, then build it. Booking, payment, callback. To redirect to that page on success. Then after that, I submit the order to PesaPal. Okay. The merchant reference is this booking ID, the amount, the currency, the description, the callback URL, notification, billing address. As simple as that. What is this function? Submit order request. It is here. If I show you here, okay, you see, takes in the same, exactly the same data. Then down here, I minimize this, and again I'll push this code and you'll read it. Okay. Again, it does some simple bit more validation. Think of it as another layer of validation, but I can remove it. Okay. Then the first thing is to get the token. Remember, from this function that I explained to you, that gets the access token. After getting the token, I create a unique ID. Okay. By getting the merchant reference, okay, and then the current time zone, the current timestamp. I mean, not time zone, but current timestamp multiplied by 1,000. Then I prepare the request body, which will be the unique ID, the currency, the amount, the description, the callback URL, notification ID, which is simply the IPN ID, which I showed you how to get, then the billing address. Then I simply log just for debugging purposes. Create the headers, but this time remember we're adding the authorization, having bearer token. Don't forget that. Then I use http://async like before to do a client.post to this endpoint. Okay. With the payload and headers, do some logs. Okay. Then handle error handling in case the payment or order fails. Okay. Otherwise, I log that it has been successfully submitted. Then I return the data. So if the data, okay, if the data get error, okay, I extract the error message. Okay. Then if that error has a message attribute, okay, I pick it, okay. But if it doesn't have that message attribute, I say unknown error, okay. But this only happens if the error is an instance of a dict, okay. Otherwise, I simply convert that error to a string, then log, then raise a value error like that. As simple as that. So here, simply, where is it? Here, simply calls that. Okay, then if things are okay, I return a PesaPal payment response, which is, if I click on it, you see it is simply a pandatic based model having an order tracking ID, merchant reference, and a redirect URL. In case there's a value error, we raise it. Okay, in case there's a general exception, we raise it. Okay, with appropriate status codes, 500 for internal server error and 400 for bad request, because the value error would mean you have sent us invalid data, so we send you a bad request and convert that error to a string as the detail or the message detail. For the internal server error, we simply tell you failed to initiate payment and convert that error to a string and attach it to that message using an F string. So that's what happens when you successfully initiate payment. Okay. Now, when we initiate payment, like I told you, we are related to our callback. So I want to do that right now. Let me set a new flight. Okay. So I refresh. Let's try it so that I show you. Say from NYC, say from New York to London. departure date 22nd, return 28th, such flights. Things always fail when you're now doing a demo. Wish me luck. If you're enjoying this, please like and share with people in your community or network, okay? So I'll confirm and continue. Then you see, okay, actually I forgot to tell you about this. I put a button, okay? For development to fill this form with test data, okay? Because I found it tedious to always type valid data here, okay? So if I click on this button called fill test data, you see it fills and it will only appear on development, okay? You'll see it in the implementation. Then I click next. Then I agree to the terms. Then I confirm booking. It says could not validate credentials. Okay, that is okay. That's okay. I like that message. So I have to log in. Okay. So let me log in. That's okay. But of course, in production, that alert will not come. Okay. So let me put in the right email, type the right password, click login. You see, we're brought back to the form. So I can click again, fill test data, click next, submit, confirm booking. So the booking is being confirmed. So now log in the booking details. Okay. So you see, we get this nice page saying booking confirmed with important information about the check-in, okay? And the summary of everything and the total, the price breakdown, passenger information, everything has been broken down. So I can now say pet confirm. Now you should understand what happens when I click pet confirm. So when I click pet confirm, you see, we have PesaPal initiate, okay, is done and sends back a callback URL, okay? In the callback URL on page.tsx, remember, we receive we receive the redirect URL, okay, from the data. So we say data.redirect URL and we say set payment URL. Set payment URL is the function up here. If I show you set payment URL, this one, okay, simply a string, okay. Then we have another function. After setting the payment URL that we have got from the backend, we have another function saying set show payment iframe to true. So it's simply Boolean. Set payment iframe to true. Where is it? Set payment iframe. This one here, okay? To true. So when it is true, what happens? I want to show you. An iframe is loaded, okay? Where is it? Close this. Are you seeing this? Show payment iframe and payment URL. So if show payment iframe is true, okay, and payment URL, what makes them true or that they exist is because of handle payment. Okay, these two what they called methods. This method calls set payment URL, set show payment iframe. So after that, I close this. You see right here, okay, we have now the iframe. Okay, we have the iframe. Okay, and if I scroll here, you see this is the iframe. Okay, with whose source is the payment URL. Okay, and the title says PesaPal payment. Okay, so this is it. So we show it in an iframe. So I think about an iframe as a page within a page. So we are saying that this payment URL coming from the backend is what is shown here. That's the call. So we have it here. Okay, we show that the result here. Are you seeing this? So you see, it has now converted. I can now pay using mobile money, MTN, Airtel, Visa. Okay. So right now here, you see some details have been populated for us. Okay. Can select the country, can put, for example, maybe Uganda. Then here I put a random number. Okay. 7732125 that. Okay. City can put, for example, like Nairobi. Okay. Post address PO box. Okay. PO box. Then that's the value. Postal code 00000. Okay. Then payment card. You see, they're saying click here to get a list of payment card details for demo purposes. Okay. If I come here, okay, I can pick this card. Okay, that link brings you here. Okay, these are a number of test cards. Pick this card, come here, fill in the card details, change the month to 7, change the year to this, CVV 1 to 3, then say accept. Okay, accept. So when I accept, okay, when I accept the payment, it is going to redirect us. Okay, it's going to redirect us to the callback URL. Remember, at the backend, I showed the callback URL. Where is it? Callback URL is this. It has been set. This, okay? Localhost 3000 booking payment callback. Okay. So on that page of callback here, if I show you front end payment callback, okay, we expect this page to be called. Okay. And this page, when this page is called, we shall pick the order tracking ID and the merchant reference. Okay. And we do some validation. Okay. Then when they are called, okay, we extract the original booking ID. Okay. Then we now do a verify payment. Okay. How do we verify payment? We shall call an endpoint. Okay. On our backend saying payments, PesaPal, callback order. Okay. I mean payments, PesaPal, callback with the order tracking ID and that merchant reference. Okay. On our backend, okay, to verify in case there's success, we say we say success, payment completed successfully with a timeout. Okay. And we say we delay of 5 seconds, 5 seconds, and we push you to the booking success page. If it fails, we say status has failed, the message is payment failed. Okay. If it is pending, we say processing, payment is pending. That's the message. Either way, we still redirect you to the booking success page after 5 seconds. Otherwise, you can say status failed, and we simply set for you a message also. In any case of any error or anything, we log the error, set status failed, and say unable to verify payment. Okay. But simply, when this is done, okay, when we proceed from here, PesaPal will, when this has been successful, whether it has passed or failed, we shall come to this page. Okay, this page here on success. Okay, and when you come to this page, this callback page, a request is made to our backend again. Okay, to this endpoint here. Where is that endpoint? If I go to payments and I want to show the callback URL. Close this for initiating. Callback is this one here. Okay. So we extract the booking ID, okay, from the merchant reference which has been sent. Okay. Then we say PesaPal client.get transaction status. We verify the transaction status. Okay. Otherwise, if there's an error, we give you an appropriate error message. Okay, we give an appropriate error message. But I want to show this get transaction status. Get transaction status also is necessary. I'll minimize this doc string. First thing we do, we get the string. I mean, they get the token, okay? Using the method I explained to you earlier. Don't forget it. We get the access token, then log some information for debugging purposes, okay? And then after, we create headers, okay? Then I make a request client.get, okay, to this endpoint on PesaPal. And the parameters we have to send is the order tracking ID, okay? Then again, log a few things, okay? Then in case there's an error, okay, we say response.raise for status, depending on the status, okay? Say response.json to get the data. Then if there's an error, okay, we pick the error code and the message, okay, whether we know it or not. So if the payment error code is payment details not found, we log it, okay, and return the data. Otherwise, we simply say log.error, we've passed the error message. Okay. In the end, we raise a value error. Take note of that. Okay. Because when it says payment details not found, it is okay. Okay. This is normal because the payment could be normal. I mean, it could be pending. Okay. It could be pending. So it's not an issue. Simply return the data. Otherwise, we simply say we log the error and raise the error. In other way, any case, if things are okay, if there's no error, okay, if there's no error, we simply log an information and then we return the data. Okay. So when the API now calls our payment, I mean our callback, okay. After this, okay, under the hood, after this, when PesaPal now takes us to our success page, we come here, okay, and things are okay. We have to do a confirmation, okay, by using this transaction status endpoint. Okay, so I've explained that. What else is missing? So when we come to this, I was now just still explaining this callback, okay? We confirm the transaction status, get the booking ID, okay? If not booking ID, we have to do an extra layer of validation, okay? In fact, maybe this should happen fast, okay? Then we check the payment status. We have got, okay, the description. So if the code is 1, it means it's been completed, okay? We update the booking, okay, to paid, okay? We have this function called update booking status, which is here, okay? Gets a booking by its ID, and if the booking exists, we simply update it, okay? And then we return simple message saying success, message completed successfully, along with the order tracking ID, the payment method, the amount, and the confirmation code. If the status code is 2, if the payment code is 2, it means it failed. We say the status has failed, okay? And we also return the message and the order tracking ID. If the code is 3, it means it has been reversed. Okay, we return simpler information with the status saying reversed. Otherwise, okay, if it is maybe invalid, pending, or unknown, okay, when the code is 0, okay, we pick the error in case it exists, okay. If the message is payment details not found, that is okay. It would mean it is pending, okay. Otherwise, it is invalid. We return invalid. Okay, so take note of that. So actually, if you follow it carefully, okay, so in your free time, make sure you study this again. It's actually quite simple. Then in case an exception happens, we simply say an error happened and the message that we had a message, an error while processing the callback, and we return the error tracking ID. So I can close this. Okay. So this is one that this method I just created that the front end can ping it, okay, from time to time to get like the transaction status from time to time. Okay, simply calls the same function, get transaction status, and returns this. Okay, this pandic model, because we know it will be serialized for us. So in case you make a bad request, I simply return to you a bad request code and the message. In case things go wrong on the server, it's a 500 and there's a detail for you. So this is something that you can use to ping. Okay, but ideally you may not even need it. But if you need it, okay, you can use it. I just put it here in case I need it. Now, I have explained the whole process. So assume that we have initiated, okay? We even called our callback and maybe the status is still pending, okay? Later, in case things maybe succeed or not, okay? Our IPN will handle things for us, okay? That we configured. I'll show you the IPN. So you see the IPN has some validation, okay? We do some validation, okay, for this, okay? In case if not all, we return this for you, okay, with a status of 500. Otherwise, we extract the original booking ID from the merchant reference. Remember, I showed you how we created it using the timestamp. We get the transaction status, okay, from PesaPal. Then we get the booking, okay. So if there's no booking, we raise a 500, okay, return a 500 error. A message with we return a message with the 500 error. I think I'm getting tired. Then after that, we pick the status code from the transaction status. Okay. If the code is 1, like we did above, we upload the booking status with paid. If the code is 2 or 3, it means it has been failed or reversed. So we just we reset it to pending. Otherwise, we simply turn success like this. Okay. Then, and of course, in the terminal, okay, you see we shall have things like this. This is what I was testing earlier, okay? As long as your transaction happened, okay, whether in the long run, okay, in the whole process, okay, you have the instant payment notifications from PesaPal. So let us test it, okay? Let me test it. And make sure you read this code for yourself so you understand. And a number of things I will need to update. Let me see. Where are we? Okay, so just click proceed. If you're liking this, please like the video so that YouTube knows we are doing something great. And of course, share it with your peers. So are you seeing this? Payment received. Your payment has been received successfully. Are you seeing this? This is nice. Great success. Are you seeing processing payment? Processing payment. Payment successful. Are you seeing? Very nice. Payment has been successful. Loading booking details. There we are. So it has been successful. A few things I need to change is, for example, here, I need to now, because this data that you're seeing is coming from Amadeus, I need to fetch from what is in our database, in our booking model, so that this should now show what? Paid. And the actions here should not show paid to confirm. I'm going to update it so that it shows something like print ticket, okay? Wait for ticket, okay? Or direct, or go to bookings page to fetch ticket or view ticket, something like that, okay? But this is good. Just to show you in the logs. I don't know if the logs were updated. Are you seeing the PesaPal IPN? Okay. Remember, initially we had 3 logs from what I tested earlier. Okay. We had 3 logs. Remember? But look at this. This is the latest. And it is a 200. Okay. They sent a notification to our IPN for an instant payment notification. Isn't this nice? Okay. So you see, look at the time. If you don't believe me, look at the time. And look at my current time here. 22:16. Okay. Here in the console is 22:15:12. So it works. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to clean the code. I'm going to move a few comments, few words, few print statements to make it clean. Okay. And share it with you so that you can also read and revise. Then also this has to be changed. Okay. I want to have this as my own model because right now Amadeus data has not been updated to paid. Okay. Because I'm supposed to give an IATA certified person to pay and issue for us the ticket. Okay. But now this is not there yet. So I have to, I want to make sure that this page shows what we have in our own database. Okay. So that we change it to paid, and pay to confirm now changes to print ticket. Okay. That ticket should only be ready after we upload it. So we have to work with uploading tickets, creating the ticket. Okay. Creating the ticket. In fact, we shouldn't, I don't think we should upload the ticket. We just create the ticket. Okay. Instead of uploading, we just create, our system should create a ticket for us or upload it in case we get it from, actually, I think uploading, because we're not IATA certified, so we shall need to get it from someone who's IATA certified and upload it here. So we shall need with upload soon. Yeah, but this will now change to print ticket, okay? Or check ticket status, okay? Something like that. And then we have also the my bookings page. So pretty interesting stuff. So I hope you've seen, if to test that it is failing, please use, for example, this card. I think card failure, use this card to test it out. Okay. So before I share the code, please try to write it on your own. If you're using AI for prompting, yeah, try to go through the code line by line so you understand it. That's how you'll become an efficient software engineer. So I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. For me, it has been very, very successful. In case of any question, please leave it in the chat. Okay. Now you see the application is getting advanced. Okay. We're getting advanced and we're going to higher stages. So let's meet in the next live stream to continue with this. Bye for now.